From the foggy and flooded University District, this is your Daily Detroit, recorded on Tuesday, February 12th, 2019. I'm Jer Stays.
And I'm Sven Gustafson. Jer, you are personifying the term pajama blogger today with your hippie pants.
I know. I feel like I have lots of hot takes to share with the internet with my pajama pants in the bottom of my house.
Right. And me, I'm wearing a suit. But enough of that. Let's get right to it right after this word.
Daily Detroit is brought to you in part by Bamboo Detroit. With an inclusive community, flexible modern offices, classes, and networking events, Bamboo Detroit helps entrepreneurs and innovative companies launch, land, or expand in Detroit. Become one of their more than 400 members today at bamboodetroit.com.
We lead with what could be a bombshell involving the Wayne County Treasurer, Eric Sabree. Both Detroit newspapers, the Detroit News and Freep, are out with similar stories today that shed light on conflicts of interest in the Wayne County Treasurer's office. Turns out the Wayne County Treasurer's wife has been buying properties in the big Wayne County foreclosure auction. That's in direct conflict with the office's own rules, which ban family members from participating in the auction. It's allegedly been done through a company called U.S. Development Services that's now headed by Sabree's wife, and it involves his two sons and a nephew. U.S. Development purchased multiple properties at one point or another that owed back taxes or were threatened by foreclosure. Another interesting development. The News discovered that while Sabri was Wayne County's chief assistant corporate counsel in 2007, he sued a private owner on behalf of the county, saying it was blighted. Then a year later, his wife picked up that same property for just $500 in the county foreclosure auction.
But wait, there's more. When confronted about the family conflict of interest issue by reporters, Sabree said that the policy that prohibits employees and their relatives from bidding at the auction is intrusive and unrealistic. Not only that, but it will be changed before this September's auction to allow family members to bid. Furthermore, only employees and contractors working directly on the auction would be barred from participating.
As Detroit bottomed out and the county felt the brunt of the 2008 economic crash, more than a quarter of properties in the city have passed through the foreclosure auction in just the past few years. There are many more details that you should go read. We'll have links to both stories in the show notes, but man, Jer, wow.
Yeah, and I want to talk about this one for a minute because to me, this is just crazy. I mean, especially that comment that he made. If that's how it was, it just shows he doesn't get it or thinks that we're somehow like stupid enough to fall for all of this. I mean, at least in my opinion, I feel like he got his hand caught in the cookie jar and now he wants to make it fine to steal cookies. And I feel like that's kind of beyond gross.
Right. Moving the goalposts, basically.
For sure. And there's been a lot of things that haven't felt right or fair or even well organized about this auction for a very long time. There have been a lot of questions over the years. It hasn't felt transparent. And these actions, they don't help that at all. Before we move on to another story, I wanted to make sure to highlight that the folks over at Detour Detroit and Outlier Media are doing a community watchdog project where they're trying to identify the large bulk buyers and others involved in that very Wayne County foreclosure auction. And what they'll do is they'll end up making an independent database to get insight into the flaws of the process. That event is the night of February 21st, and we will put a link in the show notes. So this is how you can get involved in checking out this story.
Ford's F-Series pickup trucks have been the top-selling vehicle in the United States for 36 years running now, with 2 sold every minute. But now a lawsuit from 3 professors from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology alleges that Ford stole technology that makes them more fuel efficient. Bloomberg reported recently that the professors say they patented the dual port and direct injection technologies that featured in the EcoBoost engines Ford uses in trucks like the F-150 and many other vehicles. The EcoBoost engine uses a combination of direct gasoline injection and turbocharging as a way to boost fuel economy and lower emissions. Ford and MIT launched a joint energy research program in 2007 to develop powertrain, fuel, and energy technologies. The lawsuit alleges that Ford in 2015 suggested the MIT professors were, quote, greedy investors and refused to negotiate exclusive licensing deals for the patents. Neither Ford, MIT, or the small company founded by the 3 professors to license the patents are commenting on the lawsuit. It's thought that any royalties awarded in the case could be painful for Ford, which, after all, sold more than 1 million F-Series trucks in 2018. We'll put a link to the Bloomberg story in the show notes.
Buckle up for more road construction. That section of I-75 in Oakland County that has basically fallen apart like a dry leftover bumpy cake is finally getting rebuilt as part of the second phase of a total overhaul of I-75.
Nice analogy, Jer.
8.5 miles between 13 Mile and Coolidge will be rebuilt. 18 bridges will see a bunch of work too. The project cost will be about $91 million. So here's how it'll work. For the first year, 75 going north will be sharing lanes with 75 south. Then, the next year, it'll change sides. Unlike that big I-696 project, at no time will the freeway completely close. The transit and environmental activists out there, and I hear all of you on Twitter, may be pleased to hear that Michigan is getting our first high-occupancy vehicle lane from the project. High-occupancy vehicle lanes, or HOV lanes, are common in other metros and usually require at least 2 vehicle occupants to use. Something called diverging diamond interchanges, which kind of sounds like a nerdy wrestling star related to Diamond Dallas Page, but I digress, will be installed at Big Beaver and 14 Mile Road. They're supposed to make it easier to get on and off freeways and reduce accidents. There will be a third phase coming on this rebuild between 8 and 13 Mile. That'll be wrapped up in 2023.
Jer, you had me at diverging diamond interchanges.
That's quite the tongue twister.
Today's episode is brought to you in part by Milo Digital. Milo Digital is a full-service digital marketing agency that engineers quality results through data and innovative strategies. Learn more at milodetroit.com.
Schools were closed today across the Detroit area because of icy conditions. It's the latest example of a spate of weather-caused school closures recently. And if a group of lawmakers is successful, days like today might not count against your local school when it comes to makeup days that cut into summer vacation. MLive reports that Senate Minority Leader Jim Mananich of Flint and Republican State Representative Ben Frederick of Owasso are working on legislation to not count any snow days that occur during a state of emergency against a district's snow day allotment.
Currently, state law allows public school districts up to 6 snow days per year, with a waiver available for 3 more days of canceled classes. Many districts across Detroit have already hit their limit. And Governor Gretchen Whitmer last month declared a state emergency during the polar vortex. It's not clear what the bill's prospects are in the state legislature. The restaurant scene in Detroit's West Village neighborhood just keeps on growing. Eater reports that Molly Mitchell, the owner of Rose's Fine Food, is hoping to open her second restaurant this summer. It'll be called Papis, and it'll be a Polish restaurant and bakery. Papis will be open for lunch and dinner. The restaurant has been delayed since it was first announced in January back in 2018. So if you're looking for a Polish food fix, Papis will be located on the corner of Agnes and Van Dyke in the city of Detroit.
You know how I love the East Side. Konoba Mexican Eats is now testing the plant-based protein Impossible meat on their menus around Michigan for a limited time. The meatless alternative is available in select Konobas around Detroit, Flint, Lansing, and Traverse City. Konoba says it has seasoned the Impossible meat with tomatoes, garlic, smoked chilies, paprika, and diced onions. Diners can now order any menu with the Impossible meat, but they're featuring a special bowl and a taco. Sven, you are among the healthiest eaters I know, bar none.
Why, thank you.
What do you think of this?
I have yet to try the Impossible Burger, but I'm game to try it. I do like a good veggie burger, like a good, meat replacement burger. So I'm happy to try it, and I need to do it and report back on it. And with that, friends, I'm Sven Gustafson. Thanks so much for listening. Remember, you can be part of the show by becoming a Patreon member. Join us at patreon.com/dailydetroit.
And I'm Jer Stays. Take care of each other, and we'll see you around Detroit.
You're listening to the Podcast Detroit Network. Visit www.podcastdetroit.com for more information.